Yeah.
So this is an introduction to the other book we have for class, in addition to Rereading American. And I got interested in this subject because I had somebody in town, Chief Operating Officer of West Georgia Health, contacted me. Our kids played together, and so while they were doing a sleepover, he was telling me about this book.
$300,000. Lovely home. I'm the agent.
All right, let me start over. That was not good. I'm starting. All right, I want to sell my home. I put it on the market for $300,000. I get an offer today for $290,000. The question is, if I could wait a week and get an offer for the full $300,000, would I rather wait that week and get the full price, or take the offer today for $290,000?
You want to take it now. I'll be the real estate agent. I'm telling you, you want to take it right now because a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, and the market is really starting to soften up. And these things, you just can never tell. If you have a good offer, I really think it's the right thing to take it. And I'm not speaking out of self-interest here because I'm just a real estate agent, and our interests are aligned because I'm getting a commission of your sale. So I want you to get as much as you can for this house. I really do.
When you think about the incentives that the current contract set up between the home seller and the agent representing them, they're not well aligned. But can you ever prove that?
Interestingly, if you look at the sales data on real estate agents' own homes, not their clients' homes, but when they sell their own homes, they get more money than if they sold the same home for a client. Now, why would that be? Well, what we find in the data is that agents hold out for a better price and leave their own homes on the market longer, an average of 10 days longer. But when it comes to your house, well, the agent has an incentive to sell right away.
Why? Because of that $10,000 into his or her pocket, only $150.
I only get $150 because if you take that $10,000 extra dollars, it goes to him. 6% goes to commission, but that gets whacked up. Half goes to the buyer's real estate agent, so I've got half of that 6%. But then I have to kick back half of that to my agency, so I only get 1.5%. So really, in order for me to help him get $10,000 extra dollars, I personally only get $150. But I have to work for an extra week, I have to buy all the marketing, I could be off with another client trying to get a whole commission on another house. So I have a strong incentive to say to him, this is a great offer. It's the best offer you're ever going to get. I really think you should take it.
So no matter what the real estate agent says, I would rather wait a week and pick up the extra $10,000. The agent wouldn't.
It's not that real estate agents are bad, it's just that they're human beings, and human beings respond to incentives.
If there's only one element that I say is there in almost everything we do, it's the idea that incentives matter, and if you can figure out what people's incentives are, you have a good chance of guessing how they're going to behave.
Does everybody, so the point of what they're doing is microeconomics, and they're looking at human behavior with regards to economics and how people respond to given incentives. So I'm going to play a little game, and here's what I want you to do. I want you to take these, I want you to tear it in half this way, so one top has LaGrange College and the other top, or the bottom half is blank. So go ahead, tear it to 2 strips of paper. You'll play a game where information matters, and we'll see how you respond to incentives. You've already played this. Maybe. Okay, everybody got your paper? Oh, you just get one for yourself. Everybody got one? Okay. Okay, next one. All right. Now remember, tear it on down. Put the one with the Lagrange College aside. Push it off to your right just a little bit. And what you're going to do is you're going to engage in a little piece of game theory. So if you've had me for political science classes before, you'll recognize this. If not, you may have had it in math, perhaps math classes. I don't know if economics or business would have taught this. At any rate, there is a, so you got to understand the story as well as understand the strategies and the possible outcomes. So you got to pay kind of close attention. It's not math you can't handle. So don't do the, oh my gosh, it's math, and then just like kind of shut down like you're pulling the plug on something. It's not difficult math. And it's more about math as you respond to others. I use this in my political science classes a lot. And it's called the prisoner's dilemma. And it's been, I mean, sometimes you might have heard about it in the media, but it's not always the best explained. So it's best to go ahead and follow pretty closely. So in the prisoner's dilemma, you have two prisoners, A and B. And now they rob a bank. Back when people used to do it, now they find ways to like steal it electronically. But they're going to do it old-fashioned style. They're going to rob a bank. They use guns, most likely assault weapons. And I'm not being anti-assault weapon. There's a reason for this. So they use assault weapons. They rob the bank. They stash the money, but they're caught before they can get rid of the guns, the evidence. So the cops have them. The cops don't have proof that they robbed the bank. All they have are two people who seem kind of suspicious and have assault weapons and are trying to bury them, chuck them over into the Chattahoochee River, whatever the case is. They're trying to get rid of the guns. So this is often what cops do. What they do is, anybody watch Law and Order? Criminal Intent, or was it Criminal Minds, or boy, it seems like there are a whole bunch of crime shows. Anybody got a favorite crime show? NCIS? Anybody watch a different one I haven't mentioned yet?
Used to watch CSI.
CSI, okay, there's CSI, right? Did y'all ever see this? Yeah, one year we did for our research project with American Experience, we looked at how many crime shows there are, and crime shows dominate the landscape. They made up the largest group by far of any shows. We looked at all primetime shows. This is back in 2007. Got descriptions on episodes. No, we didn't have to watch hours and hours of it. We just did the descriptions of what was involved in it. So what happens is that they, you ever watch an episode where they have two people who are suspects? They take them to separate rooms. Raise your hand if you've seen this kind of thing happen before, right? They got them in separate rooms. What are they doing when they get them in separate rooms?
Ask questions.
The what?
Ask questions.
Yeah, they're interrogating them and asking questions. What are they trying to do?
Get one of them to rat on the other one.
Excellent. They're trying to get one to rat on the other, right? That's why separate rooms? Why not have them together in the same room?
Because they work together.
Yeah, but why not together? Why not just ask them the same tough questions? Why not have one like point at the other and say it's his fault?
Looking for inconsistencies?
Yeah.
No, they don't
Spoken
know,
like future lawyer.
they don't know what's going on. I mean, you can walk in the room with one guy and say, hey, your buddy's getting ready to rat on you.
Right.
You know.
We got one person up here, we got another person down in the coffee shop. Yeah, you can't communicate with each other. You don't, and not only that, information, you don't know what the other person is doing. The cops are telling you that that the other person is squealing on you. You better rat out them. You better cop a plea first before the other person does. Before you take the full rap. Now you've got a tough choice to make. Right? They're trying to sweat out a confession. They're implying that the other side is giving in. They've got you in separate rooms, right? So you've got two choices. To defect or cooperate. Now what we mean by defect, I don't mean cooperate with the police. I mean cooperate with your partner. So make sure you jot that on down. Because that confuses a lot of people. Defect means you rat out your partner. Anybody ever heard the phrase defect used? How so?
Like defecting to another country.
Yeah, excellent example. How many of y'all watch that FX series, The Russians? It's always about that. They're trying to get people to leave their country, and America was doing their best to try and get like disgruntled KGB agents to come over to our side and tell us a lot of stuff. You know, in other words, be a traitor to your to your original country. We try and bribe them, talk about how tough their life is over there, how much better it will be over here. Yeah, defect means you're fleeing your country and you're going to another country, but you're going to the other country to rat out yours. You're not, that's different from being a refugee. Defect means you're going to another country to sell out yours. Can you think of a famous defector in the news? Yes, that'd be, isn't there a movie out? Is the movie any good?
I don't think it's out
Oh, it's not out yet? Okay. But anyway, yeah, there's a movie about, yeah, because what he did is as soon as he grabbed up as much data as he could, he went over to Hong Kong, and then he went over to Russia. And he's given a whole bunch of information that's influencing the 2016 election. Or not. Who knows? So yeah, that's what defect means. So defect means sell out your partner, turn traitor on your partner. Cooperate means you stay with your partner. You remain silent. You tell them nothing. Just watch all these gangster movies where they say like, your partner's singing like a canary. Confess, McGonagall. And then they could either do things like, it was all his idea. Or they'd say, take a hike, copper. I ain't talking. I ain't no stool pigeon. Or something like that. Y'all don't watch this. Unless you're like trying to find something on like, some channel, you get stuck on like Turner Classic Movies or something like that. They often involve James Cagney. Okay. Different era. Okay. Now, you've got two moves, right? Defect or cooperate. Now, what you do depends on what you think the other person is going to do. You see how that works? Right? If you're person A, and you confess to the crime, you defect, you cheat on the other person, and the other person does too, you get 5 years in prison. You're like, well, that doesn't sound so great. Yeah, but it's 20 years for robbing a bank. So you get reduced time because you're confessing. Doesn't that also happen in your CSI, Law and Order, Criminal Minds, NCIS, whatever? Doesn't that happen? Now, if you confess and they cooperate and they remain silent, you go scot-free. You get 0 years in prison, right? You've turned stool pigeon. You've sold out the other side. So pay attention because you're going to be playing this game with people. But the same thing can happen to you. If you stay quiet, you cooperate with your friend, and they confess, you're going in the slammer. You're being sent up the river. You're taking the full rap. Sorry, I'm out of it. It was a little scratchy from my Saturday night. Right? Now, if you both can keep your mouths shut, remain silent, tell them nothing, all they got on you are assault weapons charges, which is like 1 year in prison. That's why I said assault weapon. For a handgun, geez, I probably want free. But doesn't that sound about right? All they got on you is assault weapon. They don't have evidence against you on the bank robbery. If you just keep your freaking mouth shut. Make sense? Now, of course, if you think about it, you're like, okay, this sounds much better. 1 year in prison sounds much better than 5 years, right? But if you remain silent and the other person sells you out, you could go up the river for 20 years. So you better play a confess strategy. But if they do the same, then you're in prison for 5 times as long as you would if you just kept your mouth shut. Do you see how the game works? I hope so, because you're going to play it in just a second. All right, let's get people to team up. I'm going to have, all right, Kadarius and Lauren. You got it. Y'all play each other. What's up? Just start thinking about your strategy. All right, Brittany. I have you and Bruno play. Elizabeth, and Jordan. And Jacob, you're going up against Andy. Jacob is in, Andy. So the two of you are playing against each other. All right. Jacob, Odin, you and Tony ball play against each other. And Jacob Wood, you and Alex play against each other. Am I missing somebody? Anybody not have a partner? Oh, Brandon, yeah. You're playing against me. So you gotta write down defect or cooperate. Y'all understand? Now write it on the blank sheet of paper, blank on both sides. There's a reason for that. Darn, the one time I actually need a whiteboard, but that's okay. I'll put it down here. Have I got same initials? Okay, y'all ready to go? Okay, put your name on the slip of paper above. Your initials will do if you want. Let's see. Oh yeah, I got it right. Straight. And I play for Andrew. Remember, D is to defect, C is to cooperate, or just write out cooperate, or write out defect. Got it? C does not mean confess. I just downloaded that off the internet. So D is defect or confess, C is cooperate. Okay, let's see what you got.
Do you gotta fold it up or something?
Brittany is really... Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, you can go to prison for years. Or you could, like, avoid bank robbery charges. Have everybody's written yours? Awesome. Okay, let's see what happened. Oh, okay. Takes a little sorting time. Okay, so here we go. Cooperate. Actually, hang on a second. I'll do that. There's the reason, folks. Okay, so Lauren cooperates, Kadarius cooperates. What does that mean for you both?
They get a year.
Year in jail. Okay, could be worse, right? Cooperates. And Bruno. Also cooperates. Oh, what does that mean, folks? How long are you going to prison, Andy?
0.
0 years. How long are you going to prison, Jacob? 20 years in the slam. You are up the river for a good long time. All right. Tony.
We're going to jail for years.
And Jacob.
Yeah, you know, he's been taking me there. Oh, yeah. He taking me down through the...
Yes. So a lot of you cooperated. I can clearly see there are not a lot of political science majors out there because there's a lot more defection going on. You ever watch House of Cards? That is a defect strategy. So a lot of you were able to cooperate. Now, how many points do you get, Tony? You get like what, 1 year in prison? You get about like 3 points. So that's not too bad, right? So all of you stayed in prison for a year. Who got the least amount of prison time? All right, so Andy's the winner of the game. Yeah, Jacob, I'm sorry. You got what's known in game theory. It's called. It actually does say this in mathematical terms and political science journals. It actually says suckers pay off because you trusted Andy, and Andy is always smiling every time I see him, and he seems like a good, genial fellow. But who knew he had this defection strategy? Wait, no. Okay, time to play again. A second round. Knowing what you know about what the other person did. Knowing you get 5 points. Knowing you get 5 points if you defect and the other person cooperates, and obviously the person gets none. You get 1 point for going to prison for 5 years. 3 points for going to prison for 1 year. Does that make sense? Do you understand how that works? So defect strategy means 1 point each. A cooperate means 3 points each. One person defects and the other cooperates, the defector gets 5, the cooperation person gets 0. All right, take out your second sheet, right on the back of the nice little LaGrange College logo. What your option is going to be. Here's what we're doing. Right, you got 2 choices. Defect, or you cheat on another player, or you cooperate, you remain silent.
Go ahead and take me down that road, man.
Yeah. You gotta cooperate and stay quiet. If you both cooperate, you only get 1 year in prison. If you both defect, you get 5 years in prison. One of you remains silent, the other person remains silent.
20 years ago.
The person who stayed silent gets 20 years. The person who confesses gets 0.
So is this after our first sentence, or?
Yeah, you get out, most of you get out after a year. Maybe it takes place in your 20-year reunion for Jacob's days. So knowing what you already know about the first round, you got to anticipate what the other side is going to do on this 20th year reunion.
I had 1 year last time already.
Oh, this is like that one game that we watched.
Okay. Everybody ready? It's about time. Okay, so let me get
Yeah. By the time travel, I think you're going.
Okay. Second round. Is that playing both of you? My evil twin Skippy is playing. There we go. My evil twin Skippy. Alright, so here we go. Let's see what people do this time. With the added bonus of information, knowing how you played on the first round. Will you play this differently? Yeah, mark your name. Good thing I picked this up. So you still get 1 year in prison each. Not the max amount of points, but the best for both. Best of for both of you combined. Because 3 plus 3 equals 6.
Trust me.
Too trusting, Brendan. I'll give you an extension on your next assignment, if it's back. Well, they have plenty of time in prison to work on.
I'll take that.
Now it changes now that you have information on the others. Sorry, Jordan. That's my
Take that, damn it.
Revenge is a dish best served cold. The funny thing is, Andy actually wrote D and then he crossed it out with C and hit the last minute. Y'all were so liberal on the first round. Boy, are the knives coming up. Tony.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
Luckily.
My man.
Keeping that cooperation streak intact. Alex does not. I would expect Brandon to do nothing but cooperate. But I'm going to help, I think.
I don't know. He played me.
Just wrong, let's see.
I told you it was my evil twin. So. I knew not to trust you.
I don't trust Skip.
I do trust Brandon, but not you. Do you see how the game works now with information? Not only did, the first round, y'all were trying out a nice strategy and stuff, but look at how defection kind of goes on the rise. So little trust in today's
Keep on playing this, everybody put
Oh, you want another round, don't you? You're going to be like Robert De Niro in Cape Fear, where he's like in prison thinking for 20 years how he's going to go get Nick Nolte's character, and he's pumping iron and got all these nasty tattoos about killing people. Time to go to another country. Hide out. Yeah, so y'all understand now the role of information? Because now, once we had information on how you played the first round, how many of you did how the person played the first round change your perspective on the second round? Didn't change it at all? You thought it'd be different? You thought you'd cooperate this time, you'd only get 1 year in prison? You changed your answer.
Gamble.
The what?
Gamble.
Oh, yeah, you were gambling on this business. But you buried him before. Elizabeth, did you think you'd cooperate? Victoria would? So you sold it out. Jacob, y'all thought cooperation? You're both LC team. Both same college. Alex, why'd you play a defect strategy the second time around? You what? You don't know. You had to have some reason for it. You think he was going to cooperate? I have a question for you. Did you think Jacob was going to cooperate, and are you protecting yourself, or are you trying to get the most possible points? Oh, okay. So you figured he would play a very trusting strategy. Same thing, Elizabeth. Why'd you play defect? Did you think Jordan was going to cheat, and you're just responding defensively, or are you thinking I can get the least amount of time in prison? Oh, you want to get the most possible points. Okay, so you're thinking about this like taking advantage. Andy, in the first round, when you defect, you're the only one who played defect strategy in the first round. We trying to maximize gain, least amount of time in prison, or were you thinking Jacob will do the same to me?
I think it was like everyone will do like the safest strategy. So.
Oh, okay. So you thought everyone was going to defect or something? Okay. Yeah, in fact, that's why arrest and conviction rates are pretty high in this country, because of separating people. And nobody's quite sure whether they can trust the other side. And a lot of times what people do is a defensive-based strategy. They figure 5 years isn't great, but 5 years is a lot less than 20 years. And not only that, but if you're going to rob a bank with somebody, you can't really trust that person. Y'all see that Batman movie where Heath Ledger was the Joker? And one by one, all the bank robbers are offing each other. So there's like only one at the end. Yeah, so little trust. Or as they say, very little honor among thieves. So, yeah, I figured you were going to play defect strategy against me, so that's why.
Well, see, I didn't even know who my partner was, so I didn't trust it.
Oh, I didn't tell you I was going to play.
No, see, like
you're right, I did.
I feel like maybe if I didn't know who I was playing, it might have been.
So you don't trust anybody in this class. If it was me, if you knew I was playing, would you play it differently?
You or your twin.
My evil twin. Oh, okay. Very diplomatic.
See, John Turner has played C, but Skip played a D.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever we go in for a lunch order, like you're at Chick-fil-A at noon on a Saturday, and it's like wall-to-wall people, there's, give your name John, anybody says John. So I borrowed from the Doonesbury cartoon. They had George Herbert Walker Bush, his evil twin Skippy was a character. He would like do all the bad things. Whereas Bush would do a lot of good things, and his evil twin would do the bad things. And so, I would adopt the name Skippy, because even if they had the name Skippy, nobody's going to announce that at Chick-fil-A. Unfortunately, I was with some students up in Atlanta. We were at a UN tournament, and I did that, and all the students thought it was funny. So the next time we went up, everyone said their name was Skippy. It was like Spartacus or something. I'm Skippy. True story from Florida State. This is not an urban legend, by the way. I was getting our class to play this, and I paired up a couple that was dating. Like they'd been dating for a while. And I would just, because with 40, 50 students, you can't get everybody to play. So I just got certain select people to play. And I figured the two of them. He'd usually show up to class, kick his feet up on the desk or so, and just kind of take it easy. And she was like a furious note taker, was always like writing down stuff. And one time I asked him, I was like, how come you're not taking notes? And he said, oh, Jen's taking all the notes. So I had the two of them play against each other. This is a true story. She played a cooperate strategy. He played a defect strategy. I mean, even as the internet is in its nascent phase, it took very little time for the news of this to spread all throughout Florida State University. Even today, I still hear stories about it. I mean, they've exaggerated it somewhat. But I thought this was interesting. About a year or so later, this gal was working at Mission San Luis, which is like an old Spanish mission where the Indians hung out. One of the few times they lived together in the same community. And she was, I guess she was going to get some credits for her sorority by doing service work. And so fraternities and sororities would come out and they'd help build these things, get some extra points or something. My wife was working out there. And so when she heard the last name, oh, your husband taught me or something like that. Well, here's what happened. True story. She thought, my gosh, just this meaningless game just for a little bit of fun. He would play a defect strategy on me. Why would he do that? And of course she was, very embarrassed that this happened in the middle of class. So she began to wonder if he would lie about other things or cheat on other things. And sure enough, they had to break off the engagement when she caught him. She showed up a lot earlier than she said she would. And she caught him cheating on her. True story. That also made rounds at Florida State University. But yeah, it's a true story. Here's another urban legend. This one's an urban legend, so we haven't confirmed it. It's been told many different times, but I heard it first at Louisiana State University, which is more likely where it came from. Two students were on spring break, and I guess New Orleans can get boring for spring break. So two students decided to go down to Florida. You ever heard this one? They're down in spring, and they're really enjoying themselves, so much so that coming back on Monday just seemed a bit of a drag. Why not stretch it out just one more day? Even though they both had a test on Monday. You've heard this? Oh my God, this was an undergraduate sensation. Everybody knew about it. Even before the internet, we found ways to get the word out. By Pony Express or something. But yeah, so they came back a day late, and the professor said, y'all missed the exam. Oh, we had a flat tire. We were in the middle of nowhere. So we had to wait a while for a tow truck, so we missed the day. Oh, okay. Can we take a makeup? Yeah, sure. Get to take a makeup exam on Wednesday. It's okay. They do their studying. Show up at the professor's office. Takes them to separate rooms. Gives them the test. It's one question. Which tire?
Oh, God.
One in 4 chance of being right. As they would say in the Hunger Games, the odds are not ever in your favor in this case. So what is the role of information? How about the example about the real estate agents?
Incentives?
Okay, well, incentives play a role. If we had to work in incentives into questioning the role of information, how would you do that? Let's say the example of the real estate agents. What role did information play in that little sketch?
Before, you probably just take the first deal that came along, but now that you know that there's not really much incentive for the real estate agent to help you get that extra $10,000.
The person wanted, what was the real estate agent trying to get people to do?
To sell a house so they can move on to another one.
Yeah. So don't you get, you don't have to spend like an extra month trying to move it around just to get a marginally higher price, which means very little for the real estate agent, right? So and I thought this was interesting when we were considering whether to sell our house or not. We also We also had a real estate agent. I noticed that they make you move pretty quickly. If you ever work with a real estate agent, they want you to move very quickly. Get this house before it's gone. And I'm not a move very quickly kind of person. Because I want to get a lot of information about what I'm getting. We almost moved on a house that had massive floodplain damage and was in a floodplain. And we have to get a lot of extra insurance. They were trying to move it very quickly. Quick, get it before somebody else gets it on the market. You got to get it. You got to sell today. We'll work it out. We'll stay from 5 p.m. We'll stay till 5:30 p.m. to move it. Regardless of what you major in, what you do, just realize that if someone's trying to rush you into a sale, there's probably no reason for that. So we got a little more information about the house. All that information, by the way, is public. How'd they figure out that real estate agents were not giving the customers the best possible deal? It's also from the reading. Yeah. And you could, because that's all a matter of public record. You could go, they're both from Chicago, you could go to the Chicago Tribune and figure out what houses are selling for because it's a matter of public sale. You could do that in Columbus, not just in Chicago. It'd be a lot easier. Right? Just to track people, it's like when they're selling their own, and many real estate agents hold many houses, just to let you know. So it's not like they have one house and they're always moving around. What if you played another round? Would you change your move now that defection has started to creep in to the game? Bruno, you playing differently? Jordan, you playing differently? Trusting soul? Right? You'd still try and angle for that 1 year in prison?
Yeah.
Cooperation? Somebody give me another example of how this might work in to something related to economics or politics. Where you have conditions where two people or two groups have to come together. There are incentives to cooperate or to cheat. Can you think of any other examples where this might come into play? Everyday examples. How in politics? Think of a good example?
I mean, it's just like the last presidential debate, that like red sweater guy was, hey, say something nice about each other. And they finally, I guess for the first time throughout this whole entire process, they actually started to compliment each other.
They were forced to, but you think about it, you know, you have the first person goes and then you're not sure if the other person's going to do the same too, right?
Yeah.
They both played a grudging cooperate strategy. That's a pretty big thing. Think about a treaty. Like we signed a treaty with Iran that they dispose of their nuclear material, and we lower sanctions on Iran. It's the same incentive structure, right? Cooperate, honor the deal, or cheat. Have the other person cooperate, and you get away with something. Or you both cheat on the deal. You both renege on the deal. Really? How would you work it in an action movie? I've never had anybody bring up an action movie.
I'm trying to think. There's like, or maybe like mafia movies. Like, you know, like somebody's supposed to bring you money, you're supposed to bring them drugs, and then
Ooh, like an exchange.
yeah, the money's never in there.
And it's like in an alley at night or something like
I
that.
won't kill you if you don't kill me.
Yeah.
Or a swap has to happen.
Oh, like Kill Bill. Have you ever seen Kill Bill before?
I'm on camera. No, not yet.
Well,
I do definitely want to say. It seems like every time it's on demand, it's always Kill Bill 2, and I just want to see the first one rather than go see the second.
Well, the second one in particular, the girl wants to buy a Victoria Honda sword for $1 million, and she brings $1 million with a snake inside of it.
Ooh. So it's like a corporate defense strategy simultaneous, right?
Yeah, it's actually a black Honda, and it kills the guy, and she takes the sword.
Or somebody wants to do a hostage swap, and they've got like paint packs
Seems a time.
on the dollars or something like that. You see how this can work. Now, what was this bit, Tony, you're mentioning about people responding to incentives? Are they saying people are evil?
Repeat the question, sorry.
Yeah, you said people are just responding to incentives. They're not saying real estate agents are evil people. They're just acting, how would you say that?
In their best interest.
Yeah, or your own self-interest. Right. Brandon, do you find a lot of people act in their self-interest?
A lot of times.
Now, by cooperating, you and I both got 3 points each. If you think about it, 3 plus 3 equals 6. That's better than, as a team, than if I played a 5 and you had a 0, right? But still, 3 is less than 5, right? So people have individual incentives to cheat, right? To get ahead. I gave this example. I had a couple students. We went up to see Vice Presidential candidate William Weld for the Libertarian Party, former Republican governor, and we got stuck. You ever have this happen on 85? They moved 85. This is like right off the interstate, exit 18. They moved everything to one lane. So what did everybody do? The what? Well, how do you think everyone got in one lane? Because there's 2 ways to do it. As soon as you see a sign saying construction ahead, interstate down to 1 lane, move on over as soon as possible. What do you think people did?
Start moving over there.
They did what?
Start moving over when they see the sign.
If you play a cooperate strategy. But what do you think some people did, or a number of people did?
Just sped on ahead, got to where.
Got as far up as possible to get ahead of everyone, and then tried to wedge their way through, which made it worse for everybody. So we were on the interstate for like an hour between exit 18 and 21. See, if everyone played a cooperate strategy earlier, we'd all get over. But too many people want to get ahead, get to Atlanta faster. But instead of getting 5 points, double defect strategy occurs, so everyone's down to 1 point. So we were all later because people use their self-interest to get ahead. Do you see how this works? Yeah, but when I was teaching this to my international political economy class, they were thinking about like all the strategies to keep people from doing this, where they drive on ahead and then try and wedge their way over instead of just getting over so we can all move at a normal speed. But if you think about it, I mean, we could, if everyone just slowed down a little bit, 30 miles an hour, let people merge on in, we could all get to Atlanta faster. But no, people race on ahead, folks bunch up, and then they can try and wedge their way over. A couple people take the suckers, pay off, let them in. I had everything from like go bumper to bumper and not let anyone who's trying to cheat get ahead to death penalty for people who do that. You ever seen that happen? How about you're driving out Atlanta and you got the HOV lane? Don't some people have incentives if they're just riding solo to try and jump in that lane? Because it's the fastest lane. They're trying to get people to cooperate, to share a ride, reduce traffic for Atlanta. I don't know, are a lot of people using HOV lanes? I tend to see it a very vacant lot, and what happens, we're all bunched up. It's the same thing in Washington, D.C., where I moved from. You've always had somebody in the HOV lane who's trying to like cheat, and the rest of us, we're all stuck, and there's like nobody there because nobody is willing to share a ride, cooperate, right? Carpooling used to be a big deal when I was growing up, but nobody carpools anymore. And so therefore, we're all stuck in lanes, and we've got this clear open lane. It would reduce traffic on all if some people carpool, but nobody wants to be with them. Any questions? When we get back, we'll talk, get back on Wednesday, we'll talk about the functions of education. When you read Horace Mann's piece on education, I want you to do 2 things. I want you to not only read it, look at what the functions of education are, and he wrote this back in 1848. This is like the founder of public education in America. See if it applies today. How many of y'all went to public school?
What?
Public school. So most of you did? I'd love to hear your perspective. How many went to private school? How many were homeschooled? Okay, love to hear your perspectives as well. So anyway, come back, read Horace Mann's piece. And we'll talk about comparing America to other countries' education system.